in defense, for a defensive end, you have the sacks, the tackles, so you can have metrics. But in offensive line, I have been struggling finding metrics, because you don't have, for an offensive line, how many pressure you avoid, of many pancakes, or hole you open for for the run. It's, maybe because those stats are secret, and this is why there is experts and people from the couch like me. But I try to understand, uh, in regarding this position, why is maybe more complicated to evaluate metrics, and maybe more complicated to see which player could be an Hall of Famer based on that. I'm just asking, if I'm doing the wrong direction, I prefer you telling me, because I want to improve.
No, no, I think it's a very good question, and you're exactly right. It's very limited statistically, the analytics and metrics for offensive linemen, and really, it's way better now than it was 5 or even 10 years ago. There was very little, if anything, regarding offensive line metrics just a decade ago. You can find it if you're willing to pay for some of the advanced sites on the internet, Pro Football Focus, Sports Information Solutions. I know both those have great offensive line metrics and analysis. ESPN has their advanced site, also has offensive line statistics. So you can cobble together some of it. But what I tend to rely on for offensive line, and it just so happens, Dan, that I'm representing this year Jari Evans, who was up for the Hall of Fame this year, who was an offensive guard for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
So part of my presentation always has to have a little bit of metrics to support his candidacy for the Hall of Fame, but also just rely heavily on teammates, former coaches, opponents, and their testimony toward his greatness and toward his deservingness for the Hall of Fame honor. So I tend to rely on statistics, team metrics, right? The New Orleans Saints in those days were one of the top offenses in the league. So obviously his blocking at the line helped that area, and then testimony from players. But you make a good point, and I think it's growing, that area, to help. I think it's also an area that needs more growth because, as you said, there's a lot more statistics for almost every position except for the offensive line.